LeBou,
Thank you.
Lou Totaro, and maybe we could just do a quick round of introductions in this group here, because I know many of you are members of various subcommittees. So if you could just say your name, which subcommittee you're on, and if you're or if you're not on a subcommittee and an interested community member, that's fine too.
And there's a sign-in sheet going around.
Round.
I think also just make sure you've signed in so we can collect everybody's info at the end.
Great. So, do we want to start right over there?
With me?
Yes.
Liz Sterling, I'm a 13-year resident, and I have one question before we get started. When was this mission statement made up? Was this when the county bought the land?
Unfortunately, that's not something that we're going to be able to answer for you, because we're just committee members,
Okay.
we're just subcommittee
Just
members.
identify
If you have
Yes,
questions,
if you
can
could
probably
Just to give you guys some background, I attended my first meeting that had anything to do with this last Friday.
Let's stick to
Okay, so
Let's introduce.
it's all new to everybody. We're just trying to collect information and filter it.
Just who you are and what committee you're
Yeah.
on.
Let's just stick to introductions.
Rennie Denelli, 13 years in Putnam, and I'm here with Liz to see what we can do or help in any way.
Okay.
I'm going to just, hi, my name is Deanie LeBou, Putnam County Legislature. I started in 2009 with John Tully, and I fought very hard for the lease at the farm. And I brought a couple of ideas, my vision for the farm. I just quickly want to go. I'm going to talk about agriculture and then equine. At the time, I was interested in bringing a restaurant to the farm, which would be farm-to-table concept. I had someone that was interested that wanted to utilize the lodge and have weddings, because they had a restaurant in Westchester and they were looking for an alternative site, and they wanted to farm 2 acres. And at that time, we had a different county executive, and for whatever reason, they weren't interested in that concept. I think it's a fantastic concept, and I think it's very doable. There's infrastructure issues with the property that have to be addressed. And number 2, in terms of equine, we had a horse boarding operation that was very, very successful for years on Tilly Foster. It was private. They were leased out. But 2 years ago, I met some interesting people that were involved in the Olympics. And they came to me and they offered, I thought, a really incredible idea. When horses come in from out of the country, they come into JFK Airport and they're quarantined. But with the airport, what's the name of the airport? Stewart. Okay, Stewart Airport. They were looking for property to quarantine the horses here because it's a direct route on 84 from the airport. And it's less traumatic than having the horses go to JFK and having them transported. Plus, there's a lot of financial, there's a lot of money involved with this scenario. And it would be a win-win for, I think, for the farm. And what's that? Okay. Well, this was a private entity that was coming, and they had connections with the government. So this is a, you know, an idea. So, and also the horse boarding, I think, is paramount in whatever type of configuration, because no matter what happens, it's a farm, and also you have activity at the farm. So people, when they drive by, it brings life to the farm, whether or not we know exactly what we're going to do long-term with the facility. But for myself, nothing is more inspiring, and I can't feel any more prouder than when I drive on 312 and I used to see the horses galloping. So I think we just have to stick to our roots, and we have to come up with a plan. But I think if we start brainstorming, certainly the property can be self-sufficient. We need to have someone with a business acumen, someone with background in hospitality. We need to bring some experts in when we finalize the main plan. But I think there's unlimited opportunities on the farm. And the last thing I'm going to say is Westchester has seven golf courses, and they have multiple farms. And in this county, we have one farm and one golf course, and we've got to get our act together. Thank you.
Thank you, we did note your suggestion.
Okay. Good luck.
Thank you.
Hi, Lou Tortaro. I'm also a legislator from Kent. I'm here basically as an observer, but I would like to reinforce some of the concepts that Deanie mentioned. As a legislator, I think one of my main concerns is sustainability, and those suggestions, be it some sort of a restaurant opportunity, and certainly the equine suggestion I think is excellent. And quite frankly, I think everybody would agree that one of the first things that come to mind when you drive past the farm is like looking forward to seeing the horses. So that's something I certainly hope is going to return. That's pretty much it.
So we have an opportunity for more discussion if we could just kind of stick to, I know because you're moving on to the
Just
other
an
group,
introduction.
but basically your name and, group you're from or committee you're serving on.
Carol Ettlinger of Carmel. For years, I'm an interested resident.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, I'm just covering this for newspaper. So.
Okay.
Get your name in.
Come on, you can make a few suggestions.
All right.
What newspaper?
The Putnam Examiner.
Okay,
I'm Joan Ryan, I'm a teacher and I'm on the education committee.
okay.
Jeff Hyatt, my family's got 4 generations here in Putnam County, and I run the Putnam County Antique Machinery shows that we used to have at Tilly Foster Farm.
Education.
Education, yeah.
Edie Garvey, education.
George Cronk, Observer.
Dr. Kathy Hyber, education, but also with equine interest.
Denise Fuchs, education.
Joanne Riccoboni, education, homeschool parent. I spend a lot out of the county. I like to spend it in the county.
Okay.
Stephen Nocera, I live in Carmel, and I'm with the Education Committee.
Ed Eliano, I'm with the Education Committee.
Jill Eisenstein, education.
Deborah Villegas, education.
Virginia Smith, I think I tried Equestrian.
Phyllis Yonate, a long time member of Putnam County. I'm very interested in Tilly Foster, what happens to her.
Bob Gentili, I'm the executive director of Camp Perlick, and I'm on the education committee as well.
Aldo Lacqua, I'm Hunters Glen Board of Managers, Boston Centennial Golf Course, interested in
Christine Lasassi, signed up for the education and agricultural, and at the time there was no F1, but I'd like to know the F1 committee.
Yep.
I'm getting used to it.
I'm confused. You want me to state which committee I am, or you want me to have my opinion?
No,
Well,
just your
not
name
just
and
you
committee.
introduce yourself, and if you're
My
on
name
one
is
of the
Miriam.
subcommittees.
I'm a local landscaper, organic landscaper. I would like to be on education, agriculture. I don't know much about horses, but you want to hear my idea too?
Well, in a minute, we're gonna get to
Okay.
ideas,
Okay, I just want to know where I stand.
Is there anyone else that?
Let me see, I think John Tully and everybody's introduced at the moment, right?
Anybody we missed?
Okay, so at this point, should we open it up for, just kind of go around the room and collect people's ideas of what they would like to see at Tilly Foster Farm in relationship to these areas of agriculture, equine, education, infrastructure, soil and water, and health.
Margie, can we have the chairs of each of the committee just give a brief summary before we go around the room? This way they get an idea as to.
Of what they view
Yeah.
the parameters are of their topic area.
Yeah.
Okay?
I mean,
Okay, so
I'll start if you like.
John,
With respect to infrastructure at Tilly Foster Farm, over the years, we've heard a lot of ideas and concepts. In order for some of those to be viable, there's certain issues with respect to infrastructure that have to be addressed. Chris Ruthven, who chairs the committee, and I'm representing here today, has met with our facility supervisor, our engineer, our county electrician, plumber, our HVAC technician, and our county architect to do an inventory of the existing facility infrastructures. We'll be reaching out to the Director of Environmental Health through Commissioner Beals to look at the septic capacity and some of the water issues that are at the farm. And at this point, we feel that the inventory of the existing conditions will be the best place to start the discussion with respect to infrastructure. And not knowing what the future plans will be for the farm, we can only report on the current status and the improvements that will be required regardless of what functions ultimately occur.
When do you expect this inventory to be?
We're trying to work on a parallel track with the process, so I think we'll have updates at each of the meetings that are attended. That would be it, just an overall.
Inventory structure, septic capacity, also electric, HVAC, roads, buildings, plumbing. Anything else? You said carpenter.
Yeah, the structure, the code,
Okay.
code-related
Yep.
issues. And I'm sure as we go around the room, we hear your ideas, there'll be more that we can add to that, but I think just as a starting point, just so you have an idea as to what we're looking at from a infrastructure perspective.
Dr. Beals, the parameters of your committee?
Well, first, I have an interest in all aspects of the farm, especially considering the fact I am a farmer. I've run Willow Ridge Farm in Putnam Valley for 25 years, and it's not a hobby farm, it's a working, successful farm. But I'll confine my focus as chairman of the health. And the areas that I thought within health that particularly we might take a look at, which ties into just general nutrition and health for the community, and I think we can use a CSA. That's community-supported agriculture, and I really think that doesn't solve the entire farm, but certainly a few acres devoted to that would be a very, very valuable resource. Another area within the health department, we are children with disabilities. As you know, my department is involved with early intervention and the preschool program, which we administer, and there's a great opportunity and a need for therapeutic riding and all kinds of animal therapy for children with disabilities and problems. So I would really, from a health perspective, encourage, again, if any of these things can be worked out economically, so the CSA and therapeutic riding or animal therapy. And the third area also relates to health. As you know, about 20% of my job is emergency preparedness for our community. And we have a real gaping hole in our readiness in that regards to sheltering animals, pets. So, as you know, if we ever do reach a situation where we do have to have any degree of evacuation, people, as we learned with Hurricane Katrina, they're loath to leave their house, and there were fatalities because people would not leave their pets. And when we are, my department helps staff shelters within the county, but they don't accept pets. So again, if there was opportunity to have some kind of an emergency shelter situation over at the farm, it would help in our emergency preparedness. So those are the three areas that just came to mind within health. But I think I can make personally contributions to most of the areas. Thank you.
Warren? The soil, we're going to be taking a close look at the existing soil and looking at stormwater issues and drainage issues. So I'll be working closely with infrastructure to see where those issues might be.
So they were addressed by the watershed when the Watershed Agricultural Council, they didn't address those issues?
Not all of them, no.
But also as ideas emerge, we would have to be looking at them from these perspectives as it relates to the watershed agreement, and the biomasses that are allowed, you know, in terms of the numbers of animals and things like that would all kind of come back
The
to.
deed did have actually
I
some
did a
specific
report like
area.
that when the county first bought the farm with the carrying capacity of the land, so I will be revising that again and bringing it up to date.
Okay. And, Bert?
I'm just a farmer, and if you've got ideas, just let me know, and I'll put them on the board. That's pretty much it.
You're a member of the Ag Farmland Protection Board?
I am,
right?
yeah, I'm on the Farmland Protection Board, Soil and Water Board, and I'm also, I sit on Farm Bureau's board for the area, so if you do have any ag-related questions, let me know, and I can solve them even if they're not about Tilly Foster.
We'd like to give them some ideas, no question.
And so Marge?
Marge Thorpe, horse farm owner. I am the chair of the Ag and Soil and Water Boards for the county. I got picked, like I said, last Friday to do this. Parameters for what we're looking for, we know that there are existing horse facilities at Tilly Foster, and part of the question becomes just what they can viably be used for as far as the economic end of it, not just the atmospheric end of it. We do happen to live in an area where there are a lot of horse farms that have a lot of facility for a lot of money. And so whether Tilly Foster's facilities can be an economical viability in that department compared to the other facilities available, that will probably be one of the questions that we need to answer about horses being there. It seems like everybody wants horses to be on this farm. It's in what vein, more than whether there could be horses. And just as an example of something that's run through our heads already is a good, not me, but a good 95% of all horse farms in a 50-mile radius have an indoor ring. There is no indoor riding ring at Tilly Foster. And so I personally don't have a riding ring at my house, but I go out there and plow the snow off of it and teach outside all year round. But that's not what normally happens. So there are issues that we would have to deal with in either upgrading or fitting what's there to a specific type of equine use. Anybody who is specifically interested in the equine part of this, I have a piece of paper I would like you to fill out and give back to me specifically. I also have up here a list of ideas that I sat down and came up with that are by no means everything, but there's 14 things on this list that I came up with just sitting down and thinking about it. Everything from what was there as far as a boarding facility to a rehabilitation facility going along with animal-assisted therapy to horse hotel for travelers having to do with people on the show circuit to I came up with the quarantine areas too. So there's a lot of different variations on what type of horses could be there without it being an inferior operation compared to what's around.
Amy said that we had a successful equestrian program in the beginning at Tilly Foster. What happened to it, do you know?
Well,
We're not-
successful, I don't know. We have not done anything with the old existing group that was there. So we don't know the finances, we don't know anything that was there. Our job is to find out what would be there now and what makes sense.
Okay, so I guess,
I have a question, first question, and that I think relates to everything else.
okay.
Does Tilly Foster's want to be run as a non-profit organization, or does the county want Tilly Foster's to be run by as a profit?
In
Can you
the,
say that
And
a
it
little
makes a
louder?
big difference.
in the mission, it said public and private partnerships. And I'll-
Combination.
A combination, and I'll,
It doesn't say whether it's non-profit or for-profit.
Well, we asked that specific question actually at our first meeting, and the answer that I think was basically said is it's open to anything. So it can be for-profit or non-profit,
Yeah, but if you
but
want to
non-profit's
have a
probably
plan.
slightly easier to do, is basically what it sounded like from what I.
Well, okay,
gathered.
for-profit, I have a vision, and for non-profit, you have to have another vision.
okay, well, at this point, we're just collecting ideas.
It is
So
an idea.
if it's a private, if it involves a private operation, let's just put it up there and we'll note it as such. I
Go
think,
ahead.
You have to
The
have
education
both,
committee
because they have.
No,
Is
I
it
just-
non-profit or is it?
Go ahead.
for-profit?
okay, so we can move things along and we respect
Yeah, I
all
have a
of your
writing
time.
lesson scheduled at 5:30.
Well, the county
Well,
said
I'm
they-
leaving. I have to make a living, of which I lost a whole bunch of weeks this winter, so.
I think I mentioned earlier, from the education perspective, we're looking at it from all age groups, from youth to adults, from informal education to professional education, community education opportunities, you know, from any of the areas here, and you might have some ideas that do not fall in these areas, but let's note them because something might be possible down the road. And I respect all your time for coming out this afternoon, and I think if I'm not stepping on any of the other subcommittee members' toes, that let's open it up so we can hear from all the people that came today.
Well said, Margie. If I could just add one real quick comment, is that, you know, if you wake up tonight thinking about an idea, the website is still up there. You know, go online, jot it down, and submit it, and it is going to become part of the process. Let's get what's fresh on your mind here today, as Margie said, and let's, you know, use your time wisely while we have you and get your ideas up on that.
Okay. So do we just want to raise hands and we'll call on you? Ed?
Yeah, hi, my name's Ed Leon. I'm a retired education teacher from Poston Southern Westchester. I'm in the educational committee. I'm currently involved in programs at Hilltop Hanover Forum, which is very similar to what we want to do here, I think, in a lot of ways. And so I just want to read you something because I brought some literature. I don't know if you want to hear some of the stuff. How many of you are familiar with Hilltop Hanover Forum? Okay, so what they have going there right now is, and here's a summary of programs that are going on. It's basically based on the stewardship of the earth through teaching sustainability, all right? It has programs for youth programs, school youth group visits, right, as well as programs being offered, right? Adult programs are being offered, educational programming. Farm hosts weekend classes on various sustainability topics throughout the year. Full details can be found, you know, at their website. There's also a certificate, which I'm involved with, through Westchester Community College. It's a certificate in sustainable vegetable production, right? They have a 5-acre farm down there that they constantly work on. And they have a CSA down there that people can participate in. They raise chickens down there where you can buy organic eggs. And they have people doing volunteer work all the time. In terms of what it's all about, they have a bunch of areas in terms of housing and demonstration places. They have a farm stand, right? That's fed, that feeds people. The farm, they have a home garden. There's a dairy barn there. They teach you how to compost. They teach you how to. So basically, it's a farm educational center, and the programs down there are very good. I'm going to participate in the youth programs down there because our youth program up here that I was participating in at the Families Growing Together at the community garden has since dissipated for the summer, and I was involved with that as a mentor for gardens over there. So I think this would be a very good idea. There seems to be a lot of people involved in my classes. There are people from Fairfield, Dutchess, Bronx, and Westchester County, all right? Each of the classes I participate in have about 8 to 10 people, right? And it's twice a week and Saturdays. So that's going on all the time. My other friend who is participating is involved with Muscoot Farm and their youth Young Farmers Program. And they have a Young Farmers Program that is excellent. And they run age groups. They have a 6-week program of homesteaders, farm hands, cowpokes, and corn huskers. Grades 1 through 2 are the homesteaders, entry grades 3 and 4, the farmhands, cowpokes 5 through 6, and cornhuskers 7 through 8, right? They list July, 1, 2, 3, 4 sessions in July for each of those groups, right? And 2 sessions in August for 2 of those groups. Those groups usually have 25 to 30 kids involved in them. So, and they all pay. So it's a wonderful thing. I just came back from a program with Seeds to Schools. There are 120 teachers involved in that, and they're involving children involved with growing their own food at their schools. But I think this would be a way to bring schools of our county here to teach them how to operate within their school districts. Anyway, that's my 2 cents. I think we could do a lot with children in this county. There has to be a lot more done with children in this county to keep them busy and to keep them occupied.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Miriam, and then you're next, okay? Miriam?
I have a couple ideas which actually touch everything. One of them is I would like to introduce permaculture to our county. Every county in New York State has a chapter, New York City, every borough has a chapter, Putnam County doesn't have a chapter. Permaculture is something that touches almost on everything. And I would like to introduce it because the main idea over there is how to use water. For somebody who pay over $300 every 3 months for water, I'm telling you, water is expensive. And for my work, what I learned, it's gonna be the hottest commodity in our life in the next 10 years. So we have to learn how to use water. Not only how to conserve water, but how to reuse water. And permaculture touch a lot on those subjects, and it teaches to others. So I myself am a certified permaculture designer. However, if we're gonna do chapter here, I will have to bring some other people. I will not be able to do everything myself. But I would like to open a chapter here. That's one idea. The other idea is, you already touched on that, so I will email it. But one more idea is, which I think is really important, I would like to dedicate one of the buildings to trade people who use green material to reconstruct buildings. It's a big problem in Kelly Foster. All the buildings are falling apart. And bring in people who know how to reuse material to fix the roof, to fix the wall, to fix piping, to fix all of those things. And members of the community can take classes over there. And they can use the facilities, a place where they practice. So it's a win-win situation. And maybe it's an insurance issue, I don't know. But it's really important for us to learn how to use our resources instead of going and buying a new one and throwing everything to the dumpster.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
As far as the permaculture, what specifically would you need? Building or field? What part of the farm are you interested in?
I need a building and a small part of field, but they can do demonstration because it's outdoor demonstration. You're talking about septic system. When you go to permaculture, there's no need for septic system. You recycle the water in certain ways, and we can teach over there how to do it.
I just didn't understand what part of the farm you were.
Okay, but I'm talking about the program that I would like to bring in.
I think Virginia, right? And then Edie, Joanne.
Hey, don't forget me.
Oh, okay, sorry. You have to look this way too. Okay.
Well, I think that the focus should be on taking Tilly Foster, and we very much like to have a bunch of subcommittees here. You have a main committee, core committee, and then you have other subcommittees underneath it. Tilly Foster obviously is not going to be a complete horse farm or a complete catering facility or a complete flea market, you have educational facility. So it's not going to be all of those things. We understand that. So you're going to need someone that maybe can run everything, or a couple of people that could run everything, and there'd be subcommittees underneath that person to run the various different programs. I'm not experienced in permaculture. She is. So perhaps, however, I was in catering, I was in the equestrian business, I was in the horse boarding business. You have a problem with Tilly Foster's farm in terms of horse boarding. You got 9 stalls on the left side that are 11 by 10. You have 8 stalls technically on the right side that are probably 8 by 7. A regular size 16-hand horse cannot fit in those stalls without it getting cast, which I don't think a lot of people here understand what cast is. And rather than go into all the explanations, this goes under the category of education. If you want to run a summer program there with the kids, you guys are starting too late this year. You're going to miss the whole summer. Everybody's sending their kids now. They should be signed up for May 1st, or before May 1st.
We didn't,
So
we
whoever,
don't have the
no, of
luxury
course
of that
not.
calendar.
Of course not. Nobody's looking for the future. So what are you gonna do this summer? You're gonna have lessons there. So you're gonna need somebody that can bring stuff in there in order to earn money to support the people that are taking care of the horses, so to speak. My vision with Tilly Foster was to make it a retirement farm. Retirement horse farm, not a rescue. It's totally different. Rescue is not for profit. Retirement is for profit. Retirement charging a very decent sum, not for lame horses, only for horses that are 18 years and older, ex-show horses, ex-race horses that people still care about and are willing to pay the kind of board today that they have to pay because it is totally ridiculous how much everything costs today. And everybody's price gouging. Do you know the board? I'm in Bedford right now. The board, I will tell you how much board is there. You won't believe it. It's $3,000 a month. Totally stupid. I'm sorry to use that kind of language, but it is. It's dumb. How can you pay $3,000 a month for board? Well, for what reason? There is no reason. However, the people are paying $25,000 a month rent. So they have to charge a lot of money for board because they can't afford. And if you charge that kind of money for board, you have to have a groom every 3 horses.
Okay, so we
And
have.
that fellow costs you $600 a week. Where are you gonna get money?
So
So
are
Marge,
you-
can you run it into a profitable thing? Absolutely. Can you keep the cost down? Absolutely. You make the people from Putnam County, if you have any residents that want a board, give them a discount. You give them a discount on their lessons.
Do you not
all
want
the
to see boarding
community
though?
programs.
Are you looking just for retirement? Do you not want to see regular boarding? Is that what you're saying? I'm confused.
She said, no, I said, you only have 17 stalls here, you don't have a lot of stalls here. And if you want to give lessons, you're going to have at least 7 or 8 good school boards.
So are you against lessons? Are you against
No,
boarding?
no,
What
I
are you
think
looking
lessons
for?
should be part of it. I think a summer camp should be part of it.
Okay.
I think maybe you can make a fresh air fund.
Okay, I think we got the idea down, and so that everybody has an opportunity to get their thoughts out.
Absolutely,
We need
there's a
we need
lot
to
of
move
things to
on.
do with that farm.
Barbara?
I have a few opinions. I like where this is headed. I think education is paramount. I think we have to remember that it's a farm. And to keep the tradition of the farm, education, and right now there's so many people interested in going back to farming and learning about keeping chickens, learning about keeping bees, producing their own food to know where it comes from. I think that is very important. I also think it's important to have horses back on the property. But I can't see a boarding facility. I think if you do a boarding facility, you're cutting out a lot of people in the county. And this is a county facility, and it should be enjoyed by everybody in the county. If you put a boarding facility there, it limits the people that can come there. What I see, personally, my horse was born at Tilly Foster 19 years ago. It was a racing breeding farm. How nice would it be to rescue some of these racehorses that are headed for slaughter? I'm not saying fill the barn up, because it's an inadequate barn. A few horses, to bring horses back to the field and pay back the Benedict name by helping these horses. That leads me to another problem: how do we pay for it? So that would be something
That's what she said.
So horse rescue was the idea?
Yes.
And then the
Part of
question?
it. I
part
think
of
it's been multifaceted.
Okay.
If you bring in a few animals, I think like Dr. Bielsa said, it's so important for the children to interact with animals and for the people of the county to see animals on the property.
Okay.
I think it's fun.
Okay, Edie?
Animal horse, I had it. It's not mine, it's an ex-grade source, it's from Genuine Risk. She was one of only 4 mares, 5 mares, that won the Kentucky Derby.
Really?
Right.
Okay.
She
Okay.
was barren until she was 17, 18 years old. Her first foal was born dead. The second foal was not a racer. And the third foal, who we call Wesley, I have. His name is Count Your Blessings. He belonged to Firestone, Bertram Firestone. And you have no idea how many people come to see this horse. The Horse magazine came, and they come to see him and write a story about him. What's he doing now? He's a show horse now.
Okay, Virginia,
Go
thank
ahead,
you. We have
I'm
a lot
sorry.
of people that want to share other
Yeah, go ahead, I'm
ideas.
sorry.
Edie?
Mine are mostly for you, John, for infrastructure. Actually, they're all for you.
Okay.
I think you need hydrants for each animal because over there, they have to drag the hoses from place to place to place. So I think you need a hydrant for each pen wherever the animals are going to be, end up being there.
So it's tied to water supply?
Right.
You got a hydrants for what?
Water hydrants.
For what? For what animals? For what are you talking
Well,
about?
because probably animals are going to come back to Tilly.
Well, then, you need to know what you're looking for, because I need to.
Okay, my vision is to have a couple of animals of each one, sprinkled about a couple cows, a
If I
couple
could,
pigs,
so
a couple
cows.
chickens type of thing.
I think getting an idea of what the needs might be is good, but what we're gonna define in the infrastructure is really the existing conditions.
Okay,
That's
so like-
For the expense, so it's very good.
All right,
for
so
you.
like handicap parking and handicap
Parking,
bathrooms
I
you
think
have on there.
Parking is important.
Yeah, you
Good.
have, okay, the other thing was, I know you can only have a certain amount of paved area because it's within the watershed thing, but I wonder if you can dig up part of it and put paving somewhere else and still keeping the percentage the same if you needed to change like parking or something like that.
So pervious versus impervious surface.
Well, Joanne had her hand up
Yes,
for a
two of
while.
us, we're
Okay,
tag
and Denise.
Because we're both
Okay.
homeschooling moms and we're both interested in education. Over the years, I've taken my children to a number of sites down in Westchester, Phillipsburg Manor, Van Cortlandt Manor, and they have a farming element on some of these, like John Jay Homestead, but they have other things in addition, and educational, historical programs, astronomy programs, bird watching programs. I'm for anything that I can do in the county with my children. I'm willing to pay a price for it because I've paid a price everywhere I go. I think it's a good way to have a destination for families, whether they're homeschooling or just having their kids on the weekend to go somewhere, you know, public school. Even the public school kids, I know they're going to the botanical gardens to learn farming. As many educational programs as we can offer would be great on the property. And it doesn't have to be just farming, but farming is fantastic.
Okay, so I wanted to add also like farm to table education for the kids. So if you have people who are going to farm the land, then let's bring in a chef or someone to teach everyone how to cook the food that you're that you're growing. A lot of people are interested in growing their own food, but then they don't know what to do with it a lot of the time. So they grow it, but they need more ideas. And I also wanted to say that I think that a youth mentoring other youth program would be very beneficial at the farm in any kind of capacity. It could be outdoor survival skills, like my kids are going out of county to learn all of this. So outdoor survival skills, it's emergency preparedness as well, learning what nuts and seeds you can eat in the forest as you're walking through. Other things too, I know as far as Cornell, we have archery equipment, but we have no place to use it. There's thriving archery programs going on out of county. We could do something here as well, and that could be a weekend program, and more things like Hilltop Hanover Farm. There's a huge homeschooling community out there that's looking for programs to attend.
Okay. Thank you. Bob?
Okay.
I'm not even sure where I want to begin. I think education is definitely the way to go. I think all of you have a lot of great ideas, but I have to tell you, I'm the executive director of Camp Hurlick, and we're an education recreation center, and we've been there since 1922. It is extremely difficult to financially sustain what everybody is talking about in this room. And if you heard what I just said, I'm telling you, I know it. You need to go outside. I believe we need to go outside. What John was talking about as far as infrastructure is concerned, those are going to be issues for everything here. I think what we need in this county is a community college or some type of education center that encompasses everything we're talking about: agriculture, equestrian, health. I think a lot of what we're talking about needs to be done in a way that makes financially sense, because you're going to have all these great ideas. You're going to go out there and try to implement all the little things we're talking about. And this gentleman over here, I know the places Ed, I know who you're referring to, and I guarantee if you talk to any one of them that runs it, they're going to say it's not an easy thing to do year after year after year. 5 years down the road, we're going to be standing here talking and looking at each other saying, oh my goodness, all these great ideas, how do we keep this financially stable? I'm a non-for-profit 501(c), been there running, the camp's been there since 1922. And I've been there 22 years as the executive director. We're a BOCES certified environmental ed center, so we run all the programs you were referring to. We do outdoor skills. We have homeschoolers come to us, and we work with them. We work with the school districts all around the area. You need someone that does kind of what we're doing. With infrastructure issues, John will tell you, I mean, is this driven by the existing infrastructure issues, or is this driven by what the county may potentially do to bring in something that makes sense to everybody here? So, I mean, I can keep on going, but that's my gist of it all.
Are you saying the community college would be on those grounds?
Yeah, but focus specifically on agriculture, on equestrian, on health. And it doesn't have to look like the community colleges that we may know. It can look, we can get creative. But I think what that does is that really puts a value to it. It brings you in a position to where you're going to have to charge. You're going to have to get revenue coming in. Revenue's got to come from somewhere. Guarantee if you start tapping into the taxpayers, you're going to have a problem.
But even things like permaculture could then become part of a curriculum.
Absolutely.
But they pay for, nothing is for free.
Absolutely.
Everybody who
Right,
get a building pay rent.
Just as a
Everything
point,
is paid for, nothing for free for this place.
If a college decides that they would like to use that space for a satellite program of whatever kind, then the college is responsible
So that might
for
be
doing
a
whatever.
partnership down the road.
I think it's essential. I think all these ideas are absolutely wonderful and important, and they service the children, and they service adults, and they service families, they service our community in a lot of different ways that I think are really, really, really important. But it's just not going to be financially sustainable down the road.
Unless money's coming in.
Unless the money's coming in.
Financially stable if you charge for.
Okay.
The days of giving free things for free in the county are over.
Well, you can set it up that way.
I think that, Joan.
Yeah, I just wanted to add to that. I'm an elementary school teacher, and I was thinking we could have some wonderful class trips. But again, in order for the teachers to, let's say Mayapack, Carmel, and Brewster, to be willing to take a day out of their teaching week, the first thing that I would do is start building relationships with Mayapack, Carmel, and Brewster as far as curriculum, core curriculum. The pressure is quite heavy. And we would have to demonstrate that we're going to support their curriculum with our fantastic educational programs, which they would pay for.
Sure.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you.
I was just saying, maybe we could reach out to like maybe Cornell and see what they would require from us to have like a satellite program here at Tilly. Maybe starting out to look at that, we could build it into the program now. If we need something 6 months from now, we would know now ahead of time for it.
The chicks and the ducks, you mean?
Right, yeah, just figure whatever they might
Jeff has his
have.
hand up, and then you.
Well, if they're gonna keep the farm the way it is now, I've been in the water well business my whole life, and there's a well that's been there since the turn of the century, and I would love to see the windmill pumping water again. I started some work onto it, but we run out of funds to finish it. But I'd like to have that pumping so that the children can see how the water comes out of the ground and have it pumping into
And I
into a
think that could be
thing.
a part of
Right.
what we're talking
And
about.
also, I've always had my antique machinery show there at the farm. It would be nice. The kids always loved it, you know, it'd be nice to be able to still do that there at the farm.
I just want to say that's what I really would like to add is all that idea, at least what I came with, is for free. And nobody gonna take any class.
My question is.
No, the idea is that whatever we come up with this idea that people are willing to pay for.
Okay, so fee-based programming.
Did they, when you had the meeting, did they say, did the core committee say, are they gonna issue an RFP so people could give in bids and say, this is how I'm gonna have it?
The object is first to find out what we're gonna do with it, and
Okay, so
then
then
if
what's
it's
the
necessary for an RFP, it goes to an RFP, but there's uses for the property, it could just get, it could get used for something completely different, you just, we don't know what it's gonna be.
As far as each thing that we're talking about sustaining itself, it's not really, it's a moot point right now.
Everything is just an idea right now, I can tell you right
I
now.
got one
I don't
more
think
thing.
it's not gonna work, but at the same time, you need to, you guys are just brainstorming.
My next question is there any tillage on the land right now? Has anything ever been, in the
Yes.
last 5 years?
As far as I know, there was hay that was done on
Corn,
the property.
too.
Corn and hay.
And there was
field
corn,
back.
yeah, so there has been, but if you look at the deed which is online, there's very specific areas that can be used and only a certain amount of land can be devoted to it.
So what was, do you know when the last time it was tilled?
I believe 3 years ago, approximately, maybe.
Oh, corn maze would be fun for the kids.
Corn maze.
Okay, Jeff?
There's a beautiful pond on the property. It'd be nice if that were fixed.
And dredge.
Farm pond?
Yeah. Yeah, it's dry at the moment, but it never used to be.
Okay. I think there's a couple people that haven't had a chance. Jill, do you have anything you'd like to add? Doc? Stephen?
Community garden has previously been a place for education. As master gardener, we've held several programs. We've done things in conjunction with the health department. I'd like to see more programs like that continue.
Is the community garden not happening at this point? There's no.
Across the street.
Oh, so
But
that's
it
still in
is-
existence
But
across
it
the
is
street.
part of Tilly Foster.
Okay, so, but it's
It
still
is.
existing. I mean, I'm looking at this summer, okay? I'm gonna assume that somebody would like to see some things happening there this summer. So I'm hoping that there's long-range planning, but that there might be some smaller part of this that's gonna look and say, okay, we have a facility. It doesn't have to be completely non-used for some functions. So that in this process that we can do some quick, continuous use of the facility for county-based activities, and then, knowing that we're gonna have other ideas for the future, so something that happens this summer isn't gonna be a locked in stone kind of thing, but, it would be a shame not to be sure that we capitalize on what's there. It doesn't have to be fallow, so to speak, for the whole summer program.
Well,
I hope.
the Parks Department already, we've already, we've already got the, applications being paid for, the foster being spoken for. It's not,
That's
it's
going.
not closed down.
Right, but even on the other side, then there might be some evidence.
I have an idea, which goes along a little bit with the college, but it's a little bit easier to implement because the college programs take between 2, for a full degree program, it's at least 4 years for Cornell or for SUNY to come in and try and restructure a whole program. But something that could be done is what's called a farm incubator, which is basically where you have young people who want to farm come in and actually take over a percentage of the land and actually pay rent on that parcel and have a place to actually farm, which they wouldn't be able to do in this area because land is a wee bit expensive and they can't afford it. But then after they are able to pay back their rent, they make profits on top of it, and it's basically the equivalent of a rental agreement, and it's a little bit easier to implement just because you can make money right off the bat.
Okay. Edie?
The property across the street from the farm where they have the big red barn over there, I was wondering, it's kind of hard to get to. Maybe we want to consider leasing that out to maybe Black Angus cows for.
So you'd like to see leasing done?
Well, maybe across the street, because it's hard to get to. You really can't go there to have activities, because the parking is, you really can't park there, there's a narrow bridge to go through, but like a private.
Leasing and cattle.
Right, well, leasing it for somebody that's gonna give us a lot of money, maybe
yeah.
cattle, or maybe like agriculture, maybe, I don't know, if they wanna grow, something, or llamas, or, just something that would might,
I actually
generate
think there
funds
may
for
have been
us.
problems with water issues.
No, there's wells over there.
There are wells over there, but there's also a tributary to the river.
No, it's fenced off.
There's specifically,
Fenced off, things
it's in the
aren't-
deed, what can be used
Yeah,
and what
there
can't be
before.
used, so that won't be an issue.
And even as far as cattle are concerned, how many of us have all heard people say, oh, I would love to have my own cow, I would love to raise my own grass-fed
I have
beef.
friends that buy pigs.
You know, even if you didn't have a big commercial operation of somebody there with grass-fed beef, if every person who wanted to have one cow of their own was there, that somebody was willing to have a co-op arrangement raised for them.
Can I get a list of the different types of animals that people would like to see?
Or maybe just, there were a couple people here that haven't had an opportunity to come in now. Liz or Renato, do you have anything you'd like to add?
Well, you were talking about different animals. I'd like to see maybe somebody raising goats, making goat cheese.
Cheese making.
Mhm.
Do you know, just as a point about that, do you know that we do now have a goat dairy in Putnam County?
No, I don't.
Yes, we do. Joni Lonzo over in Cold Spring has opened her own goat dairy, and she is making goat cheese right here in
Oh, well, that's good to know.
Any other animals that anyone wants to see? Just, I gotta know. Poultry. Cows, poultry, pigs, okay, so pretty much everything.
Is Tilly Foster's town of Carmel or town of Southeast? All right, we have a problem with pigs. Town of Southeast. Rules, town of Southeast specifically say you cannot raise swine.
Because.
So we gotta change the rule first.
They have the chickens, they
Doesn't mean it was legal.
No, you have to.
Putnam County, town of Southeast specifically bans raising
Guinea
swine.
hogs were at
Left-
this.
Yeah, like,
It was illegal.
years ago, there was a lady with a
Yeah,
loose
it doesn't mean that it was legal, just the town would have to come in and find it. We won't get that, it's on everything, so.
Carol,
You were talking about, you have the farm machinery that you showed. I always thought an opportunity was missed there to have a country fair. I thought allowing people who have gardens to bring in and display what they raised, no community gardens do, and that you could build on something like that, and that could be in the fall.
well, it's an idea, but we invite you to enter your items at the Putnam County 4-H Fair at the end of July. There is an opportunity, but we'll add this to the list. And I think, the idea is, let's put the ideas out here, and then we can refine them down the road. We have the various subcommittees that need to go to work and explore these ideas, look at are they feasible, do they fit within the mission, what kind of resources are needed, what are obstacles that need to be overcome, is it something that could be easily up and going, could we do it right away, is it something that might take 3 years to get into the works, or it might be a 5 or 10-year plan, depending on what kinds of resources are
I think everybody should pay
needed.
their own electric bill, considering that the county just got stuck with a $62,000 electric bill from NYSEG. So that had to be a long time, unless it's ridiculous over there. I think everybody should pay their own electric bill. Lauren should, Howard should.
Edie and then Christine. Edie?
Well, there's solar panels there.
I'd like to see like maybe monthly events, like maybe one on the ag.
That's what I don't understand.
Come in, do
Solar
something with
panels,
the
they're-
animals, and do something with, come pet the horses and learn about the horses, and some sort of, if we have like growing things, have a Father's Day, maybe like people could have pie eating contests, just, let's see
Monthly
events.
events.
A monthly event there to just let
Community
us
kinds of
live.
events. And Christine, she had her hand up.
I just want to say that Nottawag High School in, I think it's in Southbury.
Woodbury.
They have a hugely successful agricultural program in their high school. And that might be someplace we want to call and find out what they do. It's hugely successful, and it's so competitive to get into.
That is a very interesting idea, only because I know of somebody who keeps a horse in my barn who specifically, they don't live in Putnam County per se, but they look all around to try to find a high school to send their child to that had some ag relatively to us. And the only one that exists right now that's anyways near here is Novel.
The other thing too, I know that you don't have, Putnam doesn't have its own specific BOCES, especially in the agricultural area. Maybe we could, right.
So link with,
Can I just say that Stissing Mountain High School in Pine Plains has a very well-developed ag program. But small high school, Pine Plains.
They have an FFA chapter, right, too.
yeah, okay, but she mentioned linking with BOCES is maybe something we should explore.
And maybe Teacher Farmers of America, we could get a chapter here that would be over at Tilly.
It would have to be included with the education, so I don't know anything about it. What FFA would be great in this county, I just don't know if there's enough kids for it.
FFA chapter?
And I don't know how the 4-H program works with Cornell and whether or not they'd be willing to use some of the facilities at Cornell.
Well, that's what I was, as the 4-H program director, I just wanted to say that there's a lot that we could offer and would like to offer, but we've had limited space availability, so anything that we talked about before, from video production to archery to one of the things that one of our volunteers who couldn't be here before was kind of that co-op based with chickens for people that can't have chickens on their property but want to raise chickens. So there was a lot of ideas, community events I think came up, and that 4-H could be involved or helping with some of the community events. So there's certainly a lot of ideas for 4-H, and I think, you know, potentially a partnership with FFA as well.
Okay, are there any, Diane?
So as part of education, what I would like to see is the ability to have environmental and forest hikes, like tree ID hikes, vernal pool identification hikes. I'd love to be able to see, sure, Girl Scout, Boy Scout programs, but specifically geared to the environmental resources of the Tilly Foster Farm. There's forested property, there's open meadow, there's stream-side property, there's all manner of topography at Tilly Foster, and as an environmental classroom, it would be fabulous.
Okay, so that's something we may feed, I guess, to, is it the recreations committee?
Yeah,
Okay.
maple, they could make maple syrup. They could have-
Maple syrup.
The general store should sell stuff that's conducive to agriculture.
So you'd
Okay,
like to see a
general
general
store,
store.
farm store.
It has
Farm
breakfast.
stand, she's got a farm stand, somebody has a farm
And
stand.
I have farm stands.
Local and locally
Perhaps you could sell A-grade shavings.
Okay, Ed?
And to tie on with what Diane said, why not have a hiking trail with stations there for these particular areas, right? A self-guided type of hike where people could come in, and then something that could be led.
Okay. Okay. Miriam?
I would like really to see more presentation of local artists in the farm. Let them have their own workshop, their own galleries, and let people, and a lot of people who work with stone or with metal over big pieces of wood, they have no place to see, to show their work. They show the work in Westchester because no place here to show the work. And it would be nice to have a room for them to express themselves.
Okay, Joanne?
Well, if you want to do something like that, you can partner with several of the galleries in the area that try to show the local artists. Judy Morano with the studio around the corner, they're doing a piece for Earth Day on making art out of found objects. It's very cool. So taking and reusing and repurposing.
Okay.
The school children could exhibit, you know, farm-related, have a farm-related art show for the kids, open up a little competition and hang it in the lodge, kind of like what Frogs does at their art show. Or have like an open air day painting, you know, if you want to bring artists into, and then you have a show afterwards there in the lodge.
There's innumerable things, right?
I'm sorry?
There's just an amazing amount of things that can be.
There's a lot, I'm really a lot of.
Dr. Beals?
Yeah, I'd just like to make one comment. I think these are fantastic ideas. All of them educational, because my children, they're adults now, had the advantage of growing up on a farm. And we've lost that agrarian connection, and with it, we've lost a lot. So all these educational things, to bring it available to people, is critically important. And I support them all very strongly. But I also know something about the general Tilly Foster Farm as a farm, and we can do all these things. but someone's got to figure out a way to make money to support every one of these programs, because none of these programs will be self-sustaining. You must maintain the infrastructure. You have to take care of the property. Not even close, any of these ideas to be self-sustaining.
Even collectively.
Exactly, not
It's
even
not-
close.
it's not
And
gonna
you,
add up.
and Mr. Gentile was absolutely correct. Now, farming is a very difficult enterprise. You see, when people first came here, you know, they floated across the Atlantic. They started picking up, you saw those stone walls. They took all the rocks, they put them there. And then they decided, oh my goodness, I'm trying to farm in Putnam County. There's Iowa, there's Ohio. I'm going over there.
There's no
You
rush.
understand, it's very difficult. But it can be done. There are certain enterprises. But I really think to keep it as a farm, which to me, I feel very strongly about it because I've seen the tremendous benefit to my family and my just general feeling. And you might know that the health department is just up the road. It would be a delight for me to spend a day or two over at the farm every week. If they're looking for me, they can find me on a tractor, I'd be more than happy. But the point is, I think all these ideas are great. I would support them very strongly. But you've got to first figure out, one of these ideas or a new idea, what's going to make money to support it all.
Maybe they know in room 1.
What?
They have the grants, their grants people are over there, right?
Tourism and the grants and all that over there.
Now, I manage, I can just tell you, I manage, I always make the joke, my farm was not a hobby farm. I insisted that it be in the black. But quite frankly, I made probably about 20 cents an hour for my labor. And I was one of the more successful farmers in Putnam County. I raised meat goats, boa goats. At the height of that, I had being born during, and it's very difficult for the particular kid market for Greek Easter, but I would have almost 150 kids born every February. Then I had beef and heritage turkeys. And again, there's a big demand for that kind of a product. And then you have the advantage of having a farm. But believe me, it still is a tenuous operation. Even though I had a relatively successful farm, it still wasn't anything I would commit my livelihood to.
Maybe each individual could pay rent.
Well, that's just things, and perhaps, and that is for John, if perhaps the county is interested in not, of course, having any expense, but maybe if they could lend some support to infrastructure, meaning that when highway is not busy with snow removal, maybe then they can do certain repairs. And maybe they can, when a fence goes down, because, you know, we get a little wind, immediately it crashes down on a fence, and you know, you have problems. Maybe, again, if the county could support it with the downtime of the staff they already have.
Assuming
it
there is
could.
any, of course.
Okay, I'm not, but I'm just saying, in those ways it can work. Because I could tell you now, I could, in a few weeks, I could put a group of cows on the farm, and even turkeys for next Thanksgiving. But not if I don't have, and make it financially viable where it wouldn't cost the county. Not going to make enough profit to support all these educational programs. So you have to look a little further.
There is Glenwood Farm in Putnam County that seems to be very successful.
No,
They have a
not even
gigantic
close to
endowment of
But I
millions
get
upon
so
millions of dollars.
much literature.
Yes,
from
yes,
them.
it's a wonderful facility,
And they
but it's
sell,
not,
they fund themselves.
They have
it's
millions of
through
endowments.
donations, and they do not. As a matter of fact, it's the furthest from a sustainable agriculture.
Okay,
They're
and actually-
supporting it. I don't mean to insult them. They're a wonderful facility, and I work with them, and they try supporting other farms. But they have a very large endowment, and they get contributions. We're not talking about that kind of structure.
But Dave Llewellyn, right? He's on your ag.
He's not on any boards. No, he's working
No.
with Keep
No,
Farming.
he's signed up to be on the
He's
ag
signed
committee.
up on the ag
Oh,
committee
he
for
did?
here.
Okay.
Yes.
So-
Yes, so we do have, we should have some Glenwood input and insight into it. Joan?
I was just thinking of the overview, to make the farm successful. We would definitely need a director of volunteers. That would be a key position. We would then have some paid employees, and then we would have to depend on grants, donations, endowments, like you just said. And those three components, I think, would be the way to fund it, no?
Only if it's a nonprofit.
Only if it's a nonprofit.
Yeah, you can't get a donation.
Okay, see, I want
That's why.
It could be, I just had a thought, I mean, it could be similar to combining with BOCES or working with BOCES or continuing education program where there is a menu of courses and classes that are offered. Some of them may offer college credit, some of them may offer continuing education's credit, but you know, a booklet, a pamphlet, a menu of services and programs, and they're fee-based so that we're bringing back the revenue to support all of these different programs because, as you said it before, very few things are free anymore. And so I think people, you had mentioned you take your kids out of the county to do all this stuff.
Judges, we're okay with that, and I do all the time, I spend a fortune. Do you want my thousands or not?
One class that I would like to see, and I don't know, I know health department thought about things, I'd like to see a recycling, an ag recycling class of some sort. Because one thing, we don't have it too much in this county, but most farmers have a huge problem with getting rid of their plastics because they'll get things in 55-gallon drums, and just to show how much farmers actually, there's a lot of waste in the production of food, and it would be really nice to show everybody how much goes into it, and just to do a recycling demonstration of how the whole entire system actually works.
I think it would also be interesting to do, when I was in Switzerland a few years back, I was there for 9 months, they had different programs to create fuel, and they would use the clippings, and they had these fermenters, and they'd create fuel for the farm equipment, and they also used the waste from the animals. So it's interesting.
Digestive.
Like yeah, right, a real science focus.
Yeah, digester.
It's neat.
I have to leave now, but what, how are you going to continue this?
Okay, the next, we have another meeting. The next public forum like this is scheduled for April 2nd.
Fifth.
And it's going to be at Tilly Foster at 9 a.m.
9 a.m. in the morning.
Wait a minute, wait, Marge, I'm not sure that it's definite at Tilly.
Okay, that's what Bruce was saying today.
It wasn't.
Right, like, do we have enough places for people to sit? So I guess that'll be announced. We have people's email addresses. What we'll do is we'll write up the notes from the newsprint here for the respective subcommittees. And then we will share them with the core committee. And then these will be the framework that our individual committees will be working on to take these ideas and see if they're viable ideas. If there's groups that are already in place to help make those realities, or they could be partnerships with the county, and then feed that back to the core committee. That's my understanding. Is that it, Barbara? Okay, so
the next meeting will, if anything changes, it will be on the website? Yes.
it should be on the county, on the Tilly Foster website, and we have people's email addresses. If you put it down here, we can alert you to the next meeting. Okay, is there any, the committee